It's time to rock and roll!
All right.
Not sounding echoey or anything because we were like in separate rooms.
No. You guys sound good.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, it's just like a casual sort of conversation, So that's how we do
Neat.
it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. And then I'm very curious about you both saw Scream 6, right?
Yeah, we saw it at the Alamo.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
we did.
Yeah. Is that I haven't even seen it, but it seems to be very divisive right now. So
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to getting some thoughts on that matter because
Yeah.
first it was like all positive and then it was like all negative, and now it's like some people are saying it's the best sequel, other people are saying it's the worst one. Now I'm like, I don't that, the fact
Yeah,
that it's
it's
so
not the worst.
divisive makes
Yeah.
it more interesting to me. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Oh,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah. But you know what else is divisive
Mm.
is how I open these podcasts
Yeah,
because
there's
I
no.
have no routine and I just kind of start launching right on into it. Hi, I'm your host. Good morning. I'm Diego Crespo. Welcome back to the Waffle Press Hangouts. It's episode 116. It's fucking crazy to me, but we're here now.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's my co-host Universa agreeing with me.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, usually agree with you, but yeah, good to see you. I'm recording from Austin, Texas. We're in the depths of South by Southwest.
And how does that make you feel?
Okay, I guess. I don't know. Never been there.
Okay.
Nice so far. We've been like
Who are
eating.
you hanging out with over there, Gene?
Oh yeah, so have my former roommate, Luis. Uh he's been letting me stay at his place for the last couple days and we've been having a good time. It's funny, we had Daniel, my other former roommate on, and now we have Luis, so it's just funny how things happen. But Luis, it's your first time on the show. Please introduce yourself.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on board. My name is Luis. I used to be Gene's roommate, and now he's here visiting me in Austin. I like to think he's visiting me and not just South by Southwest,
Yeah,
even though
yeah,
South by Southwest is pretty damn cool.
it is.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself. So apart from being Gene's roommate, what else you got going on? However much you want to tell us about yourself. You don't have to
Oh,
tell us anything actually if you don't want to.
No, I'll get into it a little bit. Yeah, I'm also into filmmaking. I've just finished filming last year with Gene a short film that we did together, and we're still in the middle of post production of that,
mhm.
and in the post for another short film, and currently making another one with hopefully Gene as another producer. Hopefully, we get to do something a little bit into that in the future. But yeah, I'm mainly just taking it easy so far, taking a little break. But I'm really into filmmaking for now. But also back into school for my master's. But
Oh, nice.
in the meantime, I'm just taking it easy so far.
Yeah, you're an Austin filmmaker. No.
I am. I am. It hasn't settled in yet, but I am.
Yeah, I guess that goes into the next thing. Was it how is like the Austin film scene, if you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's very different compared to the I guess the LA film scene where like, everybody knows a little bit of everybody, like there is a definite community. There is for sure an Austin filmmaking community. I have a friend who definitely knows a lot more about it because every other week, because he's in freelance, every other week he's always like, "Oh, I got this gig and I'm gonna be out for like a few weeks," and I wouldn't see him till like later that those few weeks. But it's a growing community. I remember when I was in college in San Marcos, which is like 35 minutes outside of Austin, and we would always come to Austin to see what the vibe was. And there is a definite film community here that has been growing since like the 90s. And since the last time I was here was 2019. Since 2019, it has definitely doubled in size. We definitely have a lot of great film festivals. One of them being we have the AFS, the Austin Film Society, which is run by our very own Richard Linklater.
Mm,
And every now and then he'll be there just showing off some films. But yeah, it's a very small, but it's a very vocal film community that we have in Austin.
yeah. Love that.
No,
Richard Linklater too.
yeah, I
Oh,
mean
the
that
best.
sounds that's where he got his start too, right? Like
Mhm.
he's from there and everything, so
Yeah,
that's pretty cool to hear.
yeah.
And yeah, with stuff like South by Southwest, like you just hear about how it's been, even like just passively. Like I've been watching like online, like everyone going every year, and like you see the community
Hmm.
growing and stuff like that, and that's cool. It shouldn't like these filmmaking hubs shouldn't just be based in like LA or New
Yeah.
York. It should be more accessible everywhere. And
Hmm.
that's there's more problems than just that, but like it's you got to start somewhere. That's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. We're placing our foot on the map. Absolutely.
Yeah. Have you seen anything get filmed around you? 'Cause, like I know it's like a big filming location now too.
Have I seen any films being filmed in the area?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I think I remember when I think I was in downtown. I think I could have sworn there was like a whole street section that was being closed off. I think they were filming something. I couldn't tell exactly what it was. It could have been like a commercial or it could have been for a
Mm,
movie. But I do remember seeing like a couple rigs and a couple like lamps being brought out for a shoot, and I was very intrigued to see what it was.
yeah.
And that was last year, and I just that was the last time I saw something like big of that scale being filmed in downtown. I just don't know what it was, but I was
Yeah.
very intrigued.
But you said they filmed like Everybody Wants Some by your college or something? Or that was like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
So
okay. You told me that before.
yeah, so one of Richard Linklater's films, Everybody Wants Some. Um, a good portion of that movie was filmed in Texas State, which is the college where I went to. Literally within the first 3 minutes of the movie, the main characters drives up to the college, and it's exactly where I would walk to my class. I'd be like, "Oh, that's my class right there." It's so surreal. It's really funny. But yeah, a good portion of that movie was filmed in Texas State.
Yeah. It's a great movie. I love that one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else has he done after
Uh,
that.
Richard Linklater?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did that movie on Netflix last year. It was like Apollo 11 and a half.
He did that one. He also did Last Flag Flying, which
Yeah, that one's really good actually.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's very depressing. You're gonna feel like just fucking sad after, but it's like probably like a good cry, I guess.
yeah.
Have you seen anyone seen that, Diego? Have you seen
Yeah,
that?
yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's like has a lot of nuance to it because it's like it's about like the military, but then it's like, talks about like other sort of like nuanced things and
Yeah.
yeah, it's really good. Steve Carell's really good in it.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd call it nuanced, but I don't think it's like
Okay.
trying to be either
Yeah.
though. Like
Okay.
it's just like it's about these men's struggles after
Mhm.
being in the service. A service that does not care about people,
Yeah.
and then they come home and they have like they just come home that's kind of busted people, and it's a sad movie, man. It's a real
Fucking
sad movie.
sad. Yeah. That
Uh,
one's like
but I forgot he did a movie called Where'd You Go, Bernadette, and I haven't
so haven't seen
heard
it.
anyone talk about that, which is
Oh,
always a ringing endorsement.
is that the one where he's filming with like what's her name? The sister of Jonah Hill, and they're trying to like film it throughout like a couple years, or am I
No,
mistaken?
that is a movie that was released with Kate Blanchett.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have not heard about that, but I love
Yeah.
Richard Linklater.
Yeah,
Most of
I love him too,
Oh,
but
hey,
every once in a
yeah,
while he releases something and you're like, I don't know what happened there, but that's
yeah.
fine,
Have,
whatever.
have you have you guys ever seen like the interview? Because like someone just flat out asked him because he has a cameo from a certain crazy person in his movie. In his movie,
You could say who it is.
yeah.
We're
So
not
it's like
endorsing Alex Jones of all people,
Alex
that
Jones
motherfucker.
is in two like Richard Linklater movies. It's in Scanners and then I think in Slacker, right?
Is he really?
Yeah, he's
No,
in
he's in
Scanner Darkly. Excuse me, not Scanners.
yeah, let me see. He's in Scanner Darkly. I think he's also in
I
his
think it's Slacker.
first no, his first animation film, Waking
Oh,
Life.
Wake and Life. That's right.
Waking
Okay,
Life, yeah.
he's in
Which
that
is
one too.
like I mean that
Animated
just
Alex Jones.
yeah.
because he's from here. I think he said in an interview, they asked him like, yeah, like, do you like regret that? And he's like, yeah. It's like, but he was like, I felt like he was just against everyone back then, and then he turned out to be a crazy person.
Yeah,
Okay.
different like way of understanding culture and stuff back then. He didn't
Yeah,
know
he didn't
what
know
that would
that.
turn into,
Yeah,
like
that's insane that this art house director has conspiracy theorist, like crazy person Alex Jones
yeah.
into high art movie.
I
That's
mean, to be fair, like um not defending Alex Jones at all,
sure.
who
Yeah, he's
should be
fucking
like in
sucks.
prison.
Yeah.
There's like, there is like a history of like independent, like it's definitely
Mhm,
experimental artists, like
mhm.
kind of poking the bear with like more divisive personalities in
Yeah.
their works and stuff like that. And I don't always endorse that.
Yeah.
Because like even if you don't endorse the people, maybe you're giving them a platform, and it's like we don't
Yeah.
need to do that anymore.
You
You
don't
can
need to
make
give,
provoking art without
yeah, you don't need to
rallying
give
around these
someone
people.
like Infowars.com a
Yeah,
platform.
yeah. Dumb fuck nation. Anyways,
Yeah.
let's talk about some stuff we did like recently
Uh-huh.
that we've been
New movies.
watching. The new
Yeah.
movies. Luis, you're back. You're getting your master's. How do you have time to watch movies or TV shows or play games or read books? And then tell us what you have been watching or playing or reading.
Absolutely. Yeah. I squeeze in what very little time I have, and I sacrifice the very little sleep I have to squeeze in movies because we love movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's not easy, but recently I've been watching a couple good movies and a few just whatever movies. Um, like there's this movie that I saw that my coworker recommended. I think it was called Gross Point Blank with John
Oh,
Cusack.
sounds good actually.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, why haven't I seen this movie? And there's this like really interesting performance from Dan Aykroyd, like where he also plays as an assassin, and I'm
Mhm.
like, that's such an interesting role Dan Aykroyd
Yeah.
plays.
Would
But
never see him as that.
yeah, no, it's really weird, but I
Yeah.
was enjoying it.
Mhm.
And I think one day I did like a whole marathon of all the Hangover movies because I was just really just not
Hungover.
feeling good that day. So I'm like, I'll just watch the Hangover movies.
Yeah.
And I was enjoying a good third of them. And then I got to the last one and I'm like, this is straight up not a good movie.
Yeah, it's yeah, Todd Phillips is not a good director.
No, no.
Yeah. I was gonna say though for Gross Point Blank, it's actually a pretty good film because it's like I was gonna say it's like the original Barry because it's about an assassin that doesn't want
Right.
to
It
be an
is the original
assassin.
Barry.
It's just played by John Cusack, and then the Dan Aykroyd character is pretty much like Fuchs in Barry, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Holy crap. I didn't think of it that
Good
much.
analogy. Diego, have you seen Gross Point Blank?
I have not seen Gross Point Blank.
It's
Have I
good.
seen that? I don't think I've seen
It's an
that.
80s
No.
movie when
No, I know
John
what it is.
Cusack.
I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah,
But
no, you should see it. It's really
no.
good. It's actually.
All right, I will put it on the list.
I don't
Yeah.
know if you could believe John Cusack as an assassin, but
Hey, John Cusack was a great actor.
he was a good actor.
I
Yeah.
don't really know. Like, this isn't me like starting at the. I genuinely don't know what occurred that made him not pop up and stuff anymore. I probably
Yeah.
just missed the boat on something horrific.
Yeah.
Like I don't know
And
what.
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Oh, that's
Probably.
right. That's like the
Yeah.
last mainstream movie I saw him in.
Yeah, I don't know. He didn't come back for Hot Tub Time Machine too, so
No, but the
yeah,
people who did,
regret.
I don't think they were happy about it.
No.
So,
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I guess before we move on to the next topic, Luis, can you tell us a little bit about South by Southwest?
Sure. Yeah. So South by Southwest is like one of those festivals that Austin has where they bring in a bunch of artists from music, movies, I think a couple TV shows, gaming, and they just, get to show off all their new stuff there. I have never ever participated in South by Southwest. I've always wanted to, but I always say what every other person says like, oh, maybe next year.
Mhm.
But no, it's always like a huge event here in Austin, and it's always fun. And there's a lot of like free stuff to do as well in the outdoor parks. And even if we can't catch like a movie screening, which is like probably the more popular thing, you can always catch a show here, like a music show. I mean, because Austin is known as the music capital of the world, so
Hmm.
there's going to be a lot of great bands playing some great music here,
Yeah.
and on top of that, amazing food.
Yeah, we've been eating terribly for the last like 3 days. So yeah,
Have you been
what's
eating terribly or have you been eating great?
been eating greatly? Yeah. What's a food you would recommend, Luis, for someone visiting Austin? Like first restaurant you go to? It's not Whataburger. Can't choose Whataburger.
No, right. Well, first off the list would definitely be where we're going later today, which is Terry Black's, which is a
Mm.
barbecue place. Especially if you've never been to Texas, definitely visit a barbecue place, because I mean, Texas just delivers the best barbecue. That's
Mm.
just a fact.
Yep.
And so I'm very excited to see how you're gonna enjoy Terry Black's.
Yeah, it's I'm looking forward to it. I have not eaten all day, so that's how I've been preparing each day. Don't eat until like 12 and then just go to town. Yeah.
Is that I'm not telling you how to live your life. Is that healthy?
I don't know. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, all right. I mean, I'm not judging. I'm just like depends how much you eat all at once, I
Yeah.
guess. But
Yeah, that's good. I'll have
yeah.
like cereal or something in the morning, but that's not that. Any cool like musical artists that you've seen at the festival in previous years?
Actually, I haven't seen any musical. I know a friend of mine has been seeing like a few artists,
Mhm.
um, but I haven't. I've always just walked past it because I'm
Oh,
always
okay.
like in the film area.
Got
So
it.
I never really go see any of the shows, even though I should have.
Yeah.
I'm always like last year, for example, I was outside of the Paramount Theater,
Mhm.
and we were they were showing the premiere screening for X,
Oh, nice.
and we were just like, oh, let's see if we could either A, get inside, which it was impossible,
Mhm.
or B, we could see anybody coming out. And lo and behold, freaking Kid Cudi came out,
Good
and
cutting.
yeah, Kid Cudi came out, and he said hi to a few people. He was like, what, like 5 feet away from me, so I got to see him pretty good. He's very
Yeah.
short,
Yeah.
short
He's
dude.
great. He's great in X.
Yeah,
Oh
he's
yeah,
he's a great actor. He's in John Woo's new movie.
John Woo, yeah, Kid Cudi.
Yeah,
He's
that's
really?
in Bill and Ted
and
3.
Oh,
yeah, he's stacking up a resume, man.
Yeah, Kid Cudi. He called I love Kid Cudi because it's like he called Kanye a dinosaur.
Yeah,
That's good. Stop.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's a tragedy, unfortunately. What happened with that
Yeah, a
older
little
man?
butt said.
But yeah, Kid Cudi is not a tragedy.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, but there's a lot of cool outside events. I've attended at least this year. There was a good panel for Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Stephen, who's the director of
Stephen Cable Jr.
Stephen Cable Jr. Yeah, he was talking about it with Lorenzo Di Terry, and then some of the yeah, people. Damn it. Yeah, some of the actors, and they seemed really excited about the beasts. The trans was it? What were the trans? They're prime animals. I forgot what they were called, but the characters from the '90s show Beast Wars coming in for Transformers 6 or whatever. Did you watch? Did anyone watch Beast Wars?
In passing.
Okay, it
I,
was a
I
good
wasn't a,
show.
I never avoid here's the thing. I never avoided it. It's like Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles in
Yeah,
that I barely like I was I hesitate to say sheltered, but I also don't know a better word for it. Like for the
yeah,
first couple years of my TV viewing experiences, like I couldn't watch The Simpsons when I was like before I was like 10, you know?
yeah,
And then my parents became less conservative and they're like, hey, this stuff is like not like dangerous,
yeah.
so you can like watch it. It's fine.
Yeah.
After that, that's when I just started discovering stuff. And like, yeah, we've talked about it before. Like I came to certain things late, and other stuff I was like for some reason way ahead of the curve, and I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, for like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What would Beast Wars was just giant animals, mech giant animals fighting, centered around Optimus Primal.
It's the
It's just
gorilla,
like
right?
the gorilla. Yeah, I love that name, or just the idea of Beast Wars. Like it's such a studio executive or just like some producer idea where it's like, let's just get the Transformers and make them animals. Kids will eat that shit up. It's just like the fact that it's like, all right, Optimus Prime, Optimus Primal.
Yeah,
That's
it's
like,
slam dunk.
yeah, I love it.
$1 million idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
it's
you
just
seen it,
like,
Luis?
I have not. I'm kind of in a similar like boat where I'm like, I've heard of this, but I've never like fully seen like it before. But I've definitely heard it in passing.
yeah, it's good. I don't know. Diego has like, you have like mixed thoughts on the trailer or
I
the
think the
movie.
trailer looks straight up bad. Like I
Okay,
have no ill will. The cast is great. Anthony Ramos is like a terrific actor. I really would like to watch him in a movie I enjoy
yeah,
all the way through.
yeah,
Where he's the lead role, because like
yeah.
he pops up in like King of the Monsters, but he's
Does
like,
yeah,
but so do like 25 other people, and I love that movie, but like
yeah, same.
he's not a lead. It's like an
Yeah,
HBO ensemble,
yeah, there's
which is like why
yeah,
I think it works. But
mhm,
no, like I think the trailer looks not good.
yeah.
Um,
But who knows? Maybe the
but
movie.
hey, maybe I've been wrong before. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
um,
Um,
yeah.
I wasn't interested in another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and I
Uh-huh.
liked the last one. And then that trailer came out, and it looks so
Oh, looks so.
sweet and delightful
Mm-hmm.
and exciting, and I
Yes.
can't wait for that one in particular now.
Rise. What is it? Rise of the Mutants?
Rise of, like, yeah, the title's like whatever, or
Yeah,
Mutant
yeah.
Mayhem, Mutant
Mutant
Mayhem.
Mayhem, excuse me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
better than Rise. Anything with
yeah.
Rise in the title
Right.
now, I'm like,
Done.
you're
Like
not.
you're losing ideas on creativity for titles now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it used to be like when you hit Resurrection in the franchise, that's when I was like, oof,
yeah.
like ouch. And
Star
now
Trek.
it's like whenever someone
Resurrection.
says Rise, it's like, oh,
Resurrection was used like heavily like back in the day. Now, like what's the new Resurrection now? It's like Rise,
Rise. Rebirth. Yeah.
yeah. I think Rise kind of stole that title. Like, I'm not gonna pick you all when I said that. Anyone listening or watching this podcast, you something popped into your head, and you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
The one that I'm gonna give a pass to is Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight Rises, because I
Yeah. There we
think
go.
that
Good
movie
title.
swings big and not a home run, but it knocks enough out of the park that I still like it a lot. But
Yeah.
it's also the first one that like did it to call it Rise. So
Hmm. And
Yeah,
England rises. Um, but yeah. I was gonna say just your Transformers panel was great. They had a lot of like cars from the movie, some like, free stuff. And yeah, it felt like Comic-Con, but with like Texas. So it's definitely cool. And then I was gonna say, that yeah, it had a giant Optimus Prime and a giant Optimus Primal. And then put that on Twitter. And then I think I showed you that tweet. Our friend Vice had the best tweet about it, where he's like, "Why is that monkey so big for Optimus Primal?" Because he
well,
thought they were going to be small.
Vice just has the best tweets in general. So if you don't know Vice Victus on Twitter, go give him a
Yeah,
follow.
funny.
It's the
He's
best.
good. He's
Yeah.
good.
Should we shift into our main topic for today? I don't
Yeah.
think we need to talk about what else you and I have seen. I don't think we've seen anything
Oh,
much since our last episode. But
I want to say that I think 65. I saw that when I was here while I was waiting for this guy. Was like really good actually. 65 is a really good movie because
all right,
yeah.
okay,
Okay, so I don't know if you want to see it, but it
I do actually.
okay. Adam Driver, but it's like I love the concept of it because it's like Sam Raimi or like one of the producers, they're watching like a sci-fi channel movie and they're like, what if we do that, but with way more money? Way, way, way more money. Because it's like it's so similar to like all these to and they're great, but like some of the Asylum movies I worked on, they're all just like dinosaurs and stuff. And I worked on a similar movie called Jurassic Galaxy, which is literally just the same premise where it's like space people crash land on a planet with dinosaurs. So you know.
Did you show that to us when we were living together? Did you show that?
Yeah, we screened that. I used to do some screenings of some of the movies I worked on while we were chugging a few. So yeah, you probably saw Jurassic Galaxy actually.
Nice. I have to shout out the writers and directors who are the original writers from the first drafts, like until pretty late in the game, from my understanding, of A Quiet Place.
Oh,
Scott
okay.
Beck and Brian Woods. They also did a little movie called Haunt. I'm not crazy about it, but it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's cool that like someone's still making stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think it released on Shudder at first and stuff, and it's like the perfect movie for Shudder. Like you just kind of throw it on, you're like, oh yeah, that was a good way to spend like 90 minutes or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they're clearly
exactly.
like genre guys, and
Yeah.
I guess they said they wanted like to stop the monopoly of dinosaur movies just being in Jurassic Park. And it's like nothing against Jurassic
Yeah.
Park, but I
They
think
can't
we
do it
all
right.
feel that, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, why
Yeah.
are those the only dinosaur movies?
I know, especially with Colin Trevorrow. Hell no.
No, no,
That
like I'm not even shit talking them. Like I could love all six
all
movies,
shit
and it's just
talking.
like, why? I mean, hey,
Yeah.
but like, just why? You know, there's no reason for that. They're it's like, imagine if there was only like one franchise that had dogs in it,
Yeah.
like one film, and no other film had dogs because they were scared to touch that franchise, and it's just like,
Yeah.
it's stupid. Like whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just ridiculous. But you liked it. There are
Mhm.
dozens of other people out there that liked it too.
Yeah, it's good. It's good if you want to see just it's 90 minutes. Adam Adam Driver fights dinosaurs. And that's it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's how they pitched it to the studios. Guys, it's Adam Driver fighting dinosaurs.
Turok. Yeah. Turok Hunter.
Yeah. I mean, that trailer like blew up online, which clearly didn't translate to like huge box office success so far. I hope it like has long
Yeah.
legs. Cause again, it's like, even if I like hate it, it's an original idea that's
Yeah.
very like wacky, and it looks like it's played straight. And it's just like, yeah, we should be trying to make more of this stuff. We used to have movies like this in theaters every week, like 15 years ago,
Hmm.
you know, just popping out there, and maybe you forget about them, but it's like you see it on cable again, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that when I was younger or whatever. Crazy. It's just
Yeah.
we need the marketplace to kind of fill up that way again. I'll just mention really quick before the main topic today is Scream. We're gonna talk
Hmm.
Scream franchise and your guys' thoughts on Scream 6. I
Yep.
saw After Sun finally, and
Okay.
I mentioned Tar last episode, right, Gene? I
Yeah,
mentioned I
Tar.
watched Tar. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Tar. I loved it. After Sun, I also really loved. I don't know how much it's up for like Academy contention at this point. The Oscars are the day of recording this, so
Yeah.
sorry, we're gonna be like behind the times. But
Oh well.
I that movie broke me. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
terrific.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to whatever writer director Charlotte Wells does next.
Mm.
I could write like a thesis on why this is one of the best movies I've seen over the last decade, but I will not, and I will just simply say you should go watch it if you're one of those people who likes movies about how our memories and perception of one another are never fully what they seem, and how that may be okay, and the moments we share together are very special and beautiful anyways. It's so good. Oh my god, it's so good. Everyone go
Yeah.
watch After Sun.
All right.
I need to see it.
Oh my
Right.
god, I cried so much. um and then I never cry watching the Scream movies, so let's talk about that.
Okay.
Those
Yeah.
movies, those first four, make me ridiculously happy though.
Yeah.
Luis, as the guest, what is your history with the Scream franchise?
You know, I've always liked the Scream franchise, but it's never been like my go-to favorite. For that, it's always been Halloween. But the past, I want to say like 5, 6 years, I recently like taken a step back and was like, you know what? I'm gonna rewatch the Scream movies, and you know what? I think Scream is probably like the tippy top. I think it definitely edged out Halloween, especially after Halloween ends.
Hmm.
Um, oh, I love Scream. I have nothing but good memories of watching those movies, especially the original trilogy. Um, they're just so fun movies, you know, and they're like good enough where it could be a straight up horror movie, and they're just silly enough to be like a horror comedy. Um, I have nothing but good positive things to say about those movies. Even at its worst, when it's bad, it can still be fun. And Yeah, I remember watching those movies since I was like 7 years old,
Hmm.
and always been visually uh entranced with the ghost face mask,
Yeah,
and it's just implanted there. It's so good.
yeah, it's a good design. I love the like the look of Ghostface when you think about it.
Yeah.
But you guys know how that happened, right? The mask.
Oh,
How does
Because
no.
that
in the script in Kevin Williamson's original draft, they couldn't figure out like, all right, he's wearing all. Okay, we're gonna make him wear all black because at one point they considered like making him like like a literally ghostly apparition, right?
Hmm.
With like all white and stuff like that. Like it was brief, and then he was like, ah, we got this mask in this closet. Just throw that on, see how it looks until we figure something else out. And they were like, oh, oh, that looks pretty good. Oh, can we
Oh,
get the rights to that?
Yeah.
And so they made a mold of like a similar design to that mask. And then I forget which way it worked out, but like they either used the mask that they just found for like 15% of the movie or something like that, and then they use the mold for the rest, or if it's the reverse, but they kind of just like stumbled upon it, like the Michael Myers mask, you know. And it's like you never know where a great idea is going to come from. So that's pretty fucking cool. And that's like Wes
Yeah.
Craven's genius, you know, like
Yeah.
letting the
that's
cooks cook.
I know. Yeah, that's a good design. I was gonna say it's crazy that those films have been around almost 30 years now.
Yeah, I mean, I did the retrospective with Matt on the franchise leading up to Scream 5 last year, and
Mhm.
I had a blast talking about those first four. And like I could still talk about how fucking I'll tell you exactly why those films are still around. It's because they've made at least one like out straight masterpiece, the first film.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
argue two
Mm.
masterpieces.
Mm.
I know the ranking gets a little divisive, but I think
Yeah.
Scream 4 is like amazing. I think it's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, we
But
just saw it actually. We rewatched it right before we saw Scream 6.
okay, and you guys liked it?
Great. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's really good. I loved the like 20 it captures like the 2000s, the 2010s really well, like the first three did for the 90s. And it's like, how people communicated and like kind of updating the like, how he does the call in the scary movie and now it's through like text and everything. That movie was great. I loved it.
Yeah, I Scream 4 might be my favorite.
Oh,
Like,
really? Okay.
yeah. But
strong
here
words.
before I get into it, Gene, what's your
Mhm.
history with the franchise? I don't actually
Oh,
think I know this.
no, yeah, sure, yeah. I don't think I saw any in theaters, but back when we used to have Blockbuster, me and my cousins used to rent them in the Blockbuster, so that was a good vibe. Rewinding the VHS, or no, they had it rewound already. Playing it on VHS, just watching them on an analog TV, and probably having the lights out. So it was good. Yeah, Scream 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, good times.
Yeah, the first three were all like cable movies for me, so like
Yeah,
HBO or
yeah.
someone like where they
They
were
really,
uncut. I saw them like uncut, and that was cool. Or was it
yeah.
maybe I saw them like you know how you used to be able to find like full movies on YouTube more easily back then?
Hmm.
Oh, those were the
Maybe that was
days.
one of those. I can't remember. But the first three are kind of just like back there. I came to horror later in my life too. Um, and then the fourth one is the one I saw in theaters. It is to date the only one I've seen in theaters. That might change, but the
Yeah.
fourth one's the only one I've seen in theaters, and it was a blast. And I had a pretty packed house, so I was surprised when it kind of bombed, like
Oh,
financially,
yeah.
because
Damn.
that was supposed to launch another trilogy. I don't know if you guys remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, vaguely, yeah, I remember.
Yeah. But yeah, I think four is fucking so underrated. It does like it calls stuff that's barely getting out of trends now. Like
Hmm.
there's like live streaming in that movie. None of the
Yes.
other
Yeah.
six doesn't do live streaming even, right?
No.
mm,
No.
Neither does five.
Doesn't. Nope.
Maybe five would have a little more staying power if they adapted some actually current vernacular and didn't just sound like letterbox tweets within conversations of characters.
Yeah. Screen 5
Um,
is like a movie that's too online.
I don't think, you know what? I'm gonna go the reverse. I don't think it's online enough.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it should have been more letterbox build, Twitter
Yeah.
brained.
But
I
it's
think
like,
it should have been about something.
yeah, exactly. But it's
Um,
like, just that movie is just like it's like it's written by maybe like an annoying film Twitter person.
Here's the fucking thing about Scream 5. I'm sorry. I'm like become like the premium Twitter hater of Scream
Okay, yeah,
5.
sure. Yeah.
It's written by James Vanderbilt. He wrote Zodiac. There
Yeah.
is no fucking excuse for some of the shit in that movie.
Yeah.
Everyone who worked on that movie has brought a game to something else. And it was just very disappointing when I did not
Yeah.
like any of it.
Yeah. Luis, did you like Scream 5? Because I'm like, I was okay with it, but it's certainly like not a movie where I would say like this is like the like introduction to this franchise.
Man, I feel like I'm in the minority because I really like Scream
You
5.
really liked it?
No,
Okay.
you were in the majority. A lot of people like Scream
Yeah.
Oh, really?
5. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I enjoyed Scream 5, although I will admit there are some things that I probably could have done without. And some things are looking back probably not as great, but I saw both Scream 4 and Scream 5 in theaters,
Hmm.
and man, I just had a fun time watching Scream 5. But looking back, there are some things I would have been like, I could have done
Yeah.
better than that, or that could have been a lot better. But I don't know. I really like Scream 5, but I understand the criticisms
Yeah.
that
That's good.
Yeah. And I mean, like my big issue with it is that I don't feel like I got anything that kind of wasn't done better in Scream 4.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like Scream 4 kind of like it calls it shot with legacy sequels before those become a trend. Where it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, because it's doing a reboot thing, because
Reboot.
the big marketing like trick that they pulled over all of our eyes, the wool that they pulled over audiences' eyes, is that we're not gonna remake it, we're gonna reboot it, and it's gonna be a sequel to the original, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Scream 4
man.
already does that, like in its text. Like
Mm-hmm. A better version.
here's the new Randy. Now it's like, a more like attractive, spunky young woman instead of like a schlubby, nerdy guy, right?
Yeah.
And played by the amazing Hayden Panettiere. Like Kirby is like, I think, a fan favorite character throughout the franchise for good reason. But you see
Yeah.
like all these characters who are like, this is the next whatever from the original movie. This is the next whoever from the original movie. And then they all, like, spoilers for Scream 4, they all die horribly because it's
Yeah.
like you can't just remake that. And then
Yeah.
Scream 5 is like, but what if you could? And to me, it was just like sequences like that kept happening in Scream 5 to me, where I was like, we already kind of dismantled that and threw it away.
Yeah.
I just wish they did something different,
Uh,
because I loved Ready or Not. Like I mentioned, James Vanderbilt wrote fucking Zodiac.
yeah.
Like
That's crazy.
we're talking about very talented people here.
Yeah, not to dunk on the movie too much, which I kind of enjoyed it, but like it kind of reminded me of, because we were rewatching another movie too, Scary Movie, where it's like they're almost doing like kind of like parodies of the original characters, like it's just like there's like a Dewey character, but he's not like quite like Dewey, and it's like I don't know, for some reason maybe Scary Movie's in my brain, but it kind of reminded me of Scary Movie.
No,
Yeah.
that makes total sense. And like I like that first Scary Movie, like as a child
Yeah,
of
it's
the
good.
90s, I think I have
Yeah.
to. The
quick fun
the
fact.
main Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. Quick fun fact that Scream was originally supposed to be called Scary Movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Know
yeah.
that.
Isn't that such a funny twist of fate, It's
Yeah.
like but like I think the problem with Scary Movie that stops it from being like great is that it's parodying something that's already like a satire,
Yeah.
So it's like you're kind of like you're yes anding, you're like
Yeah.
yes and it's like that's not that interesting, so
Right.
like I don't know how newer audiences respond to a movie like Scary Movie, where I will always have an affinity for it. I don't know if younger people are like, isn't that just a franchise, like making fun
Yeah.
of stuff?
Yeah.
But
That's an
Mhm.
interesting, that's a interesting perspective on it now.
yeah,
Yeah.
nothing against that first Scary Movie at all.
No,
Just
absolutely.
something
No,
I thought about.
definitely not. I was gonna say though, for like Screen 5, I still can't go over the fact, because I was texting you this morning or messaging you this morning, Diego, where it's like Orson Welles, where he's saying homage. He hates homages, but like I still don't know why in Scary Movie 5,
Scary Movie 5 or Scream 5?
yeah, sorry, Screen 5, excuse me. The actress, it's like Mikey something or other, that plays the second killer, the second Ghostface in Screen 5.
Mikey Madison,
Mikey Madison. She
who's very
died.
good.
She's good. She's good. She dies the exact same way she does in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, why are
Which
they homaging that? And it's like
that was an accident. They weren't homaging that. They kept it in after they saw the movie because they were like, I don't know, fuck it. They're just they weren't like I don't begrudge them for not changing
yeah,
that if they already
yeah,
had that,
no,
you
of
know.
course, but it's just
Yeah.
like it's so weird. Like the actress didn't say anything. She's like, "Oh yeah, I also get set on fire and scream in this exact same way in this
Apparently
other."
they did talk about that. They're just like, should we change it? You know? It's
It's
kind of
actually
like
in their
when
contract. She
yeah,
should
yeah.
always dies by fire.
Yeah, she's like, no, if I'm in a movie where death occurs, and I die, like I need to be lit on
Set on
fire.
fire.
If it
Yeah.
happens a third time, you know what? I'm just gonna start like I'm gonna keep an eye out, like whenever a movie like happens, like with her in the starring role or something, I'm gonna be like, is it here? Is it
Yeah,
gonna
she
happen
would be
here?
set on fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's great. I think one of the better aspects of Screen 5 was her and then Jack Quaid, the only good nepotism baby.
All the actors are good. I
Yeah.
don't think anyone's allowed to be particularly good in the movie because
Yeah.
there's like, in my opinion, there's like not a lot going on with the characters. Again, like I mentioned, there's just we're treading old ground. You know, they're old hat by this point. There's nothing like I look. I love the
Mhm.
Scream franchise. The fact that they kind of like called their shot with all these like wildly different trends, like it becomes almost like fucking like a prophecy of what the
Yeah.
horror genre is. I cannot expect that to keep happening fucking 5 times in a row. It happened
Yeah.
4 times. I can't
Yeah.
continue to let that happen. Like it's a miracle that those movies did what they did. To varying degrees of greatness, I believe, but still. Um I would still have liked for it to have like more of a stamp on its own. Like I don't think Scream as a franchise needs to be like revelatory and like worshiping itself. You know, I
Yeah.
think people kind of say that it does. I don't think it does. Um, it's still always about like the characters. Like I think that's why it really resonates with a lot of people. People call it like Scooby Doo, like R-rated
Yeah.
Scooby Doo at times, and it's like yeah, that's why it's awesome. You know, it's just like
Yeah.
these
I love
characters gathering together to solve a mystery.
yeah, I
Um,
love Scooby Doo.
but it's
Scooby Doo's
like
great.
whenever Dewey pops up in one of the original movies, it's like you get like that Hans Zimmer theme from Broken Arrow. When it
Okay.
which is like a real thing. That's
Yeah.
Dewey's theme in the
Hmm.
franchise. It becomes like really sweet and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know. I think the characters in Scream, the main central cast of characters, they're the ones that are like I don't believe that they should be like excited about being in a Scream movie.
Yeah.
And I think in
Yeah.
Scream 5, they're a little excited to be in a Scream movie. Whereas,
Yeah.
like, you know, everyone, we'll talk about this too. But like Sydney's not in Scream 6.
Yeah.
What happened business wise is fucked up. The
Hmm.
trajectory of that character, I think's fine. Business wise, I pay Nev Campbell. This is her franchise that she
Yeah.
started with Wes
Yeah.
Craven.
Bastards.
But the character, I like why the fuck would she want to keep popping up in these? Like if she keep popping up in these, she's gonna die.
Hmm.
And she's gonna like she's not happy that she's in sequels to her own life tragedy. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
That's the whole
Yeah.
fucking meta text in Scream 2, and she's playing in the play in Scream 3 when she's running around like the reconstruction of the Mocker house is
Hmm.
like this like they're profiting off her trauma and shit.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know. I want the characters to be a little angrier about the situations they're in and not like, oh, this is a requel or whatever the fuck.
Mhm.
But that's
Yeah.
enough naysaying for me. I'm sorry. I got
All right.
feelings.
Yeah. I was
No,
gonna say, yeah.
that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
Because yeah, when I heard that Neve Campbell was not going to be returning, at first I was like, oh man, but like this is her movie franchise, but at the same time, like understanding her character, it makes sense. It's better for the story that she like because like why would she come back, especially for the story that they're telling in Scream 6. It definitely makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have any more thoughts on the franchise, or do you guys just want to go ham and tell me what you
Yeah.
thought about Scream 6?
Can we pause for 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
I think your dog.
Oh, the dog can be. We don't have to
Oh
pause. The
no,
dog
she's
can be
like
in the podcast.
no, she's biting me. So
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
it's just a little love nibble.
Yeah, no.
Oh, look how happy she
He just
is.
pushed her off.
Okay. Edit this out.
No, no, I'm leaving the dog in. This is great.
No.
This is the thumbnail, man.
Alright. Thanks, yeah. Sorry. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll go back to bring us back.
Yeah. All right, Scream 6. I have not seen it yet. The divisive reactions have interested me more than any trailer or quote from the filmmakers. What did you guys think?
I was kind of like mixed on it. I was really enjoying it, and then I guess we'll get into this later until the last act. Because I felt like there were really interesting ideas, good sequences, like the train sequence is great. Um, like that's actually a really like well built, well shot. Like they're just on this train with multiple people dressed as Scream or Ghostface, excuse me, and they're just trying to get out. So I'm like, oh, that's so cool. But yeah, it was just I don't know. Yeah, it was just a little mixed. I wouldn't say I hated it, but like it was interesting. I'll say that. Yeah. How did you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think for a good majority I was enjoying the film. There were a lot of great sequences. This one I think has probably the best use of tension, I think, because there's a lot of great suspenseful moments. There's a lot of great build in tension throughout most of the scenes with Ghostface and the rest of the characters. But I think at a certain point in the movie, it kind of there's like a switch where I was like, oh, I'm not really sure about these decisions.
Yeah.
Went
Yeah.
from like me enjoying it to me just starting to question why did they decide to make these decisions and those choices.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean I think it's a bad movie. I still think it's pretty cool, especially in the fact that it's New York. I do think that this is the movie that Jason Takes Manhattan thinks it is.
Cool.
Because
Mhm.
I don't like that one. But yeah, this is the movie that Jason Takes Manhattan thinks it is. But there are still so many things that I think it could have done a lot better, especially
Yeah.
in the third act.
Yeah, that third act is rough. I guess we'll talk about that when we get into spoilers. But yeah, no, no, it was interesting that they chose to do it in New York. I mean, I think again, I guess that's happened before where they take it out of the town. This is in Scream 3, they're in
They're in
LA,
Hollywood in Scream
Hollywood.
3.
Yep,
And
yep,
the second one, they're in college. They're not in the town. The whole thing
yep.
takes place at the college. So whenever I saw people being like, "This is the first one taken outside Woodsboro," fake ass fan.
Yeah.
You clearly did not watch these movies,
Right.
which is like fine, but don't lie to yourself and don't lie to
Yeah,
me. That's
yeah,
the most
yeah,
important thing.
exactly.
But yeah,
Unless
I
you're
just saw a lot of that, and I was like, really? Like
yeah,
from big name people, I was like, really? You're like a professional film critic, and you're opening with that. The first, no,
should have
what?
kept it in the drafts.
Yeah, like you're just like that is objectively, factually incorrect.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just annoying to me.
Like,
No,
did the third one take place in Hollywood?
yeah,
Yeah,
it does. Yep. Jay and Silent Bob have cameos for some
yeah.
reason. For some
James
reason.
Allen, Bob have cameos. Matt on the podcast retrospective had the good point of like, maybe they should have joined the gang for the rest of that movie.
Just Kevin
You know?
Smith.
Yeah, you know what? Because like that one gets a lot of flack, but I think a lot
Yeah.
of fans love it because it is like pure camp for a lot of the time. Like Roman's monologue as the Ghostface reveal, like it's just camp, Like
Yeah,
he
exactly.
every Ghostface becomes camp at a certain point, but that one has
Right.
like a particular air to it. And it's about theatricality, because he's the director in the
Mhm.
movie, and like people really like that one now, including myself. I've really come to like Scream 3.
Yeah, it's
It's
good. Like,
it's very funny and
yeah,
it's very interesting.
I
I have
love
my
when yeah,
issues with Scream 3, but it's good fun.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
definitely got issues for sure.
Yeah.
Like I mean, they were like rewriting it on the day, which they ended up writing into the movie because the characters are like, we're getting new fucking pages every day. How am I supposed to learn my lines? And I get them 15 minutes before cameras are rolling. It's like,
Jesus
well,
Christ.
that's just what happened on that movie, you
Oh,
know?
gosh.
And like you can
Meta.
feel it a little for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But yeah, for Scream 5, like, yeah, I don't know. They used New York interesting. I guess they're kind of repeating Scream 2. I like, the characters and they're in college now, so it's a little bit of a retread. But, I think like Jen Ortega was like, they play the characters well. They really seems like they like their roles. It seems like they give their characters life enough, where it feels like they're doing, like interesting things. But yeah, it's just there's like one character, I forgot her name, where it's just like she seems like do you know the character I'm talking about? Where it's like so they call themselves the Core Four, and like one of the sister, and she's just like she goes like a monologue about like movies, and I guess that's kind of we have this in Scream, but she's almost like too like film twittery, too letterboxy.
is that the Jasmine Savoy Brown character?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Another
Mindy.
really great talented actress.
Yeah.
The spoiler alert, the Tinkerer in the Miles Morales Spider-Man
Oh, yeah.
game, which is excellent, and she gives an excellent performance in that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has this monologue in 5, and I have to go back and dunk on 5 just a little bit,
Yeah.
because it's like she has this monologue in 5 where she's basically like she's parodying the points that will be the villain points of the film.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the film never like reflects on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like maybe you could draw an interesting line about the dangers of toxic fandom instead of just saying that you're
Saying it,
talking about
yeah.
toxic fandom. And it's like,
Exactly.
look at how this stuff can get manipulated and used to hurt people. You're not
Radicalized.
innocent just because you
Yeah.
like something or dislike something. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, I don't know. I wasn't crazy about the writing of that character. So
Yeah, I feel bad for her because she's like great actress,
Yeah.
talented, but it's just like the lines that they give her, and it's just like they're just bad. They're just bad. It's like kind of like cringe, and it's just like, who would say this? Who would say this in this situation that they're in, where they're potentially going to be murdered? you know and it's like, I don't know, it feels like almost like a game, like they're too excited to be in this movie. Like they know, like they're in a Scream movie and they're like excited to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna survive. And it's like, or and then too, like they're like, oh well, this is how we survive. I'm like, how do you know this? Like this is like you're in like a tense situation, you know yeah.
no, Luis brought up it's the movie Jason Takes Manhattan thinks it is. I've
Yeah.
heard that like it does take like advantage of the new location very much.
It
It's
does,
super
it does.
funny that it is also shot in the same places that Jason Takes Manhattan was.
Oh,
Not
is it?
intentionally. It takes place, or it was shot in like Montreal, which I
Oh
believe Jason Takes Manhattan was, at the very
Yeah.
least in Canada.
yeah, it's easier to film.
Yeah, I'm not begrudging anyone. I'm just like the difference between like a knowing director's hand, or maybe someone who directed the 7th Friday the 13th movie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
so they didn't exactly pump talent into those original ones. Is
Yeah.
what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
No.
But
yeah,
the
go ahead.
cell phone really does take advantage of it. It just uses all of the advantages that New York has into the story very well.
Yeah, it blends it well, I would say. I'll give it that.
Yeah, for sure. Unlike where the 7th Friday 13th mainly takes place on a cruise ship.
Yeah. Well, he punches someone's head off, which is cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That is true. That's right.
Yeah, and like, not to make it about Friday the 13th, but it's like if you made a movie about like Jason gets onto a cruise ship, like that's a movie right there. Don't call it Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jason goes tropical. Or
Yeah,
just
something, right?
goes cruising.
Yeah. Cruising, like the Friedkin movie,
Yeah.
which is not about cruise ships.
No.
Just a heads up for anyone who's like, oh, cool movie. No, a problematic fave, we'll call that one.
Yeah. Guess so.
Yeah, all right, Scream 6. Are there any standout characters, I guess we'll say? Because I like I like all the new actors they bring onto it. Let me pull some up. Josh Segura, who is Sam Carpenter's boyfriend in the film.
Yeah.
I love this guy. Yeah, I think he's a really talented actor who has not really had a chance to shine.
Yeah.
And I only know him because I've seen Arrow all the way through. And
Is
he's
he
the
like Wild
villain.
Dog?
No, he is Prometheus. He's the villain for season 5. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, he's given like a really committed performance. And that was in the middle of the years where that show was really struggling to find its footing. And then that one season just comes out of nowhere and like knocks me on my ass. And I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? Why is this guy so good?
It's like why, they're stealing another Batman villain.
Yeah, but he was great. He was great in that show. Is he great here? Does he have enough to do?
Yeah, I think so. They give him like, they give him enough. He's like, he feels like kind of like, because it's like he kind of has like that boyfriend trope, but it's like he kind of goes against the trope. So it's like, yeah, I think so. I'll go to bat for him.
Yeah, he was very good in it. Of course, Melissa Barrera, I think that's her name.
Yeah.
Says Sam. She's very good in the movie. The same as Ortega. I my favorite addition to it was Dermot Mulroney. I really like that act. I really like him as an actor. I think the addition of him really adds the star power to this cast. But my favorite was probably Hayden Panettiere with
He's great. Kirby coming back is good.
Yeah, I love that they brought Kirby back because one of the other ideas for that follow up to Scream 4, had it been successful, was that Craven was like, we're not going to show her dead. We're going to show her still moving on the ground. So there's that optimism that she might pull through. And if she does, we could have her in the next one. Yeah. That never happened. Now it has. So that's another way of like honoring Wes Craven. See, that's like the right way to honor Wes Craven. Yeah. Don't just say like you are.
Exactly.
But I mean, Hayden Panettiere, she's been out of the spotlight for a long time.
Yeah.
She became like a mother and stuff like that, and took time off to take care of herself and her kids.
Yeah, she was married to Vitaly Klitschko for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I echoed the fandom when we heard she was coming back, and we're like, fuck yeah.
Well, it's like,
that's great to hear.
Yeah, they hint at it in 5, I guess. It's in that thumbnail.
Yeah, underneath the dead meat cameo or whatever.
During the dead meat cameo. The best part of 5 was the dead meat cameo.
It kind of was, yeah.
I was like hooting and hollering seeing them in the theater. If anyone hasn't listened to their podcast or seen the kill counts, they're great. Dead meat podcast. Yeah,
we're big dead meat fans here. And Luis, I also love Dermot Mulroney. He's definitely a guy I love seeing pop up and stuff. As always, I have to mention one of my favorite shows, New Girl, where he has an arc as the older put together boyfriend, because everyone in that show is like a disaster, and he's like a guy. He's like the one character in that entire show who has his life together.
Yeah,
and so everyone like loves him because of that.
Yeah,
it's just like, it's so funny. And I listened to some of like the press junket run of Scream 6, and he's like super excited. Like, I'm sure he's just saw the movie or whatever, but it's like, there's like an enthusiasm there that feels like really authentic.
Yeah.
And he's like hyping up the movies, like, like I wasn't in the original, but like there was lots of talk. Everyone heard about like, a mainstream horror movie. And he talks about like how he's seen the evolution of it and like how it was such like a huge hit. He's like, the reason horror is like kind of a big thing again is because of Scream, which is true, because it was like dead in the water in the 90s. And he has this funny comment where he's like, it plays so against type of like other movies, like it's so embedded in the DNA of this franchise that like now the new cast members are even older, like they're bringing in old people now, like him, versus just like new, young, and up and comers.
I was gonna say though, I think like Dewey was very missed. I really disagreed that they killed him off in 5.
I made a tweet before 5 came out, and I was like, if Dewey dies on film, I die in real life.
Yeah.
And I've not been the same since, and I think that's because of that,
Yeah, definitely.
There were so many times I was just waiting for Dewey to appear, and I'm like, oh wait, he's dead.
Yeah. That's fine. That was also too, I don't think like That was like it makes no sense for him to die in that last one. He was just felt
Well,
like they were, yeah,
sort of like the legacy sequel where they have like the original character that will die off.
yeah. It's just
Um,
like they're copying like the Han Solo death in Force Awakens, which
that's exactly what I was about to allude to. That
yeah,
that
which
Harrison
works.
dies
Yeah,
off.
but like
Um,
also Harrison doesn't want to be there anymore.
yeah, I mean, can you blame him? But I don't
So
know. At least for me, uh,
yeah,
I guess it's. I was sad to see him get killed off, but in at least in my mind, it made sense.
yeah,
But he was definitely missed here.
yeah. I guess yeah. Full on spoilers. They do a fake out death of Gale, which is like I felt like they were doing the same thing that they're doing in five. Like no one's safe, but it's like, and then I don't know if like they changed it or whatever. It could have been like multiple, like maybe film things, but at the end they're like, oh yeah, she survived.
Are we into spoilers now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we.
go ahead. And I'll just say really quick, like I don't know if I love how the death of Dewey played out.
Mhm.
I am okay with it. I'm not. I don't know because like I think it's so pivotal to what that movie's trying to be, and I
Yeah,
disagree with what that movie tried to be. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But the idea itself, I'm not like against. I just it should hit me harder. I should have been like crying my eyes out, being like, no, 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 you know. And I was like, are we
yeah,
doing this? Okay, they did it. All right, I guess that
yeah,
happened. That's kind of a bummer, but all right. And I don't know. Again, like, should these legacy characters even be here? You know what I mean? It's nothing against the actors. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
the Golden Trio carries those first four movies like
yeah,
to their levels of success and like notoriety, but I don't know. Maybe they don't need to be here.
It's
yeah.
interesting that you say that because I remember when watching the trailer for this one, I was thinking we were just focusing on the new younger cast.
Mhm.
And then when Courtney Cox came out, I was like, oh, at first I was like, oh, I'm glad she's here. But the longer she stuck around, the more I was like, oh, it just kind of feels like she's just being forced into it. And so that's when I was like, agreeing with your point, Diego, that maybe she doesn't really need to be in this story, just so that like she has that moment uh, in that scene where she almost gets killed off. But harping back to what Gene said about the fake outs, there have been so many fake outs in this movie. I'll count them. So
Yeah.
so we're already into spoilers. So the killers are not one, not two, but three. We're three. It's and so one of them uh is the roommate whose name is fleeing from me. But we see her get killed off in the beginning of the movie.
Mhm.
She turns out to be the killer, so that's one fake out. Um, the other friend dies. The brother gets like stabbed multiple times in the abdomen, but he survives. Um, Mindy, the other sister, gets stabbed and the knife pulled up, so that's a third fake out death.
Yeah.
Fourth is Kirby, who got stabbed and got shot and still managed to survive. So you
Got a
have
bulletproof
four fake
vest.
out scenes in this movie.
Mhm.
Had it been just two, I would have been annoyed, but I would have been fine with. But four, I was really annoyed.
Yeah, it was just like this is like I don't think people could survive these laceration, these deep stab wounds because it's like people get like fucked up in this movie by like knives, and it's just like they get like shot and they're like still alive. They have this like plot armor, but it's not like like fun plot armor. It's just like it's just really like just it's just dumb. It's just like this makes no sense. It's not logical.
I'm
Yeah,
wondering if they're a little hesitant because the death of Randy in Scream 2 was so controversial that they considered bringing him back in part 3. I don't know if
Hmm.
that's known fact, but like
Uh-huh.
um people did not like that at the time. And like in hindsight, I'm like, No, that's probably the way to go. It's nothing against Jamie Kennedy or that character Randy, but it's just like, again, but these are movies about making movies and
Right.
and the movies and all that fucking
Yeah.
pretentious bullshit. But like the characters themselves do not get to live the fantasy that we're watching,
Right.
right? They're human beings, and human beings, it doesn't always work out for human beings, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
like the randomness and chaotic world around them and shit like that. So it's like in a regular movie, Randy gets the girl at the end. In
Yeah.
Scream, he's butchered in the back of a van in broad daylight.
Yeah.
And so I actually think that this decision is great in hindsight.
Mhm.
It's fucked up, and it's like, oh no, like it's a genuine gut punch. It's really fucking mean. Um, and I think maybe these guys are a little scared of a mean reaction like that,
Yeah.
and I won't actually blame them for that. That's considering they just tackled toxic fandom,
Yeah.
Mhm.
whether or not I think it worked. Like
Right.
I do think they have a genuine
Good intention.
fear from that, and like good intentions, and their finger on the pulse, and like, okay, this is what is going to set people off. We should try to avoid that. Now,
Right.
is that maybe the best way creatively to move forward?
Yeah.
I don't think so, but
To their credit, by the end of the movie, I was happy that majority of them were still alive, but at the same time, I'm just like 4 fake out death scenes. Like,
Yeah, it's like
come on.
well, Diego's if you're watching on YouTube.
yeah,
The fake
I
out
had
death.
I had to change my background real quick for this one
Yeah.
because
Hey, there you go.
yeah, I got
Backgrounds
my
are
faves.
all the characters they faked out dying.
Well, I meant to
Oh, actually, it's
do
five.
this.
Five
I've
fake outs. I almost forgot about Courtney Cox.
Brittany Cox. That was also too. That was I hated that scene because it was just like you're just doing the Dewey scene all over again, but then you don't even follow through. I'm like, why? Because it looks like the way they play that scene and the way they direct it is like, okay, she's done. Like they're killing her off. This is the last you're gonna see a Gale, which was like the whole point of that scene was also too. Like, I kind of liked the fact that they brought up that Gale has never been on the phone with Ghostface, and they bring that up, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah,
then they just like, all right, they do this like thing where okay, goodbye to Gale, and then it's like, not really.
yeah. Again, like why are these characters here? Like honestly,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you this is gonna be the nicest thing I ever say about the Jurassic World finale, but
Oh,
I think it was smart to be like, don't put the legacy characters up front. Like
yeah,
the concept of this franchise is strong enough that you can kind of just have people in this world existing,
yep,
suffering through this stuff, right? And then bring them back for like the last hurrah or whatever.
yeah,
No, the
yeah.
fault the that didn't work for Jurassic World, but that move that the last Jurassic World doesn't work. Like that's a
Garbage,
disaster. You know what I mean? That's
garbage
like
movie.
that is like, it's not just a train wreck, it's like a nuclear waste like explosion. Um, but like that's not a bad idea, and maybe that's what they should have tried here. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I will say though, like at least the finale was like it took a swing. I appreciate that because it's like it has a good set piece of having it basically in like a memorabilia room, like a trophy room for all the Scream movies, and they're like interacting with like props from the previous film. Like they have like the TV that Billy's killed with. And it's just like, that's cool.
Stu
Stu, excuse me, sorry.
Stu's killed
Like,
with the TV.
yeah.
Billy Loomis is stabbed
Alien
and shot.
stabbed, yeah. Well, they have that knife too, excuse me. But
That's
yeah, it's
fine.
just like, it's an interesting set piece, but it's just like I guess we'll talk about like the reveal of like who the killer is, but it's just like the fact that it was like the family of the last killer is just like they're doing the Scream 2 thing, but then it's like, oh, it's the entire family, and the entire family is like also killer crazy people. What did you think about that, Luis?
I didn't mind it. I'm back and forth on it because
Yeah,
there are times I didn't mind it because it's kind of like alluding, like maybe paying homage to like the Sawyer family or the
like the Texas Chainsaw,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre
yeah,
family.
sure.
Yeah. But at other times I was like, I just liked it when Jack Quaid's character
Yeah,
just messed up in the head, but at the same time,
Weirdo.
yeah, that he's just a weirdo. But at the same time, I kind of do like that. Like he comes from a messed up family.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm mixed on it. I'm like,
Yeah, I feel really mixed. Like I see the intent that they're trying to go with, like maybe as an homage to two, but then like the whole family, like the brother and the sister, and then the dad. The dad's a cop, and then it's like the sister was like the roommate of Sam, and then like the other guy's the roommate, and then too like he's like a secret son, where they changed his identity so he could go to college with the characters to get revenge. I'm like, this is a little much, even for a Scream movie. This is a little convoluted. I'm like, what the fuck?
In
I will
defense,
say,
okay,
I will
Yeah.
say that it was pretty predictable to know that the roommate, not the brother, I mean,
Yeah.
was going to be one of the killers, because like we hardly had any scenes with him,
Yeah.
of him alone.
Yeah.
Um, every time they kept on pointing at him out, I was like, yeah, okay, he's the killer.
But also too in the movie they keep saying like, oh yeah, like we don't know about you. You're probably the killer. Like they keep
yeah,
foreshadowing it, like trying to be clever, and then it's like, oh wait, he was the killer. Or one
And
of the killers.
but I think it would have been a lot funnier had it had like I think it would have been great, but also low key funny um that they always think it's him, but he's like actually just an honest dude, and we see him get killed off,
Yeah, and they're like, he wasn't.
and like, oh yeah, I guess he wasn't. But just the fact, like, I knew in my heart that like, oh, he's probably the killer, but I was hoping that they were gonna like divert it from like, oh no, he's actually just a helpless
Regular
dude.
guy.
Yeah,
No,
he was like well intentioned.
yeah. That's again in defense of um the potential like overcomplication of the reveal.
mhm.
Scream 3, which I was just hyping up, has the most fucking ridiculous over the top reveal where it's like, actually, because every trilogy has to go back to the beginning,
Yeah,
right? They're like,
yeah,
actually, I put the idea in Billy and Stu's head to become rapist murderers. He doesn't say that exactly, but that's what he's saying. And it's
yeah,
like, whoa, like that's like they're playing with some fire with that one.
yeah,
I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this.
yeah,
But so I'm again not having seen Scream 6, it's like after that, I'm like, all right, I can handle a little overcomplication. There's like fucking futuristic voice changers in that movie. It's so fucking ridiculous. But like
yeah. Crazy franchise.
it's fucking crazy. I'm curious. So like all this stuff, what is Scream 6 like about? Is it satirizing anything at this point? Like, because every Scream, like whether or not it's successful, has tried to satirize something or like
Yeah.
approach something. Going into this one, I don't know what it was trying to do there. What did you guys think it was going for?
Hmm. I
It's not a
mean,
great sign.
yeah, it's like about legacy sequels again, but then it was always so like, oh, these are so predictable, like these tropes and everything. Like they're like, isn't this so predictable? And then they just like do the tropes. So I don't know. I guess it was about legacy sequels again.
It was about legacy sequels, but like here's the thing.
Hmm.
When they were going through the rules again, usually the rules are pretty standard, like they're pretty set in stone, and these movies really do honor them in a way. And even with the last one, as much as like it's pretty like shaky, they do follow the rules. In this one, it was rather interesting because when they were going over the rules for legacy requel sequels, geez, try saying that 5 times. They There's a certain point where it was like too long of a scene. It was too long for its own good when they were explaining the rules and who could die and who could be the killer, where they kept on going around in the circle like oh, like but legacy characters can die now, and like, oh, but that means you and Tara can die too, and we can die too also. And so I'm like, so basically anybody can die, so like the rules don't matter, I guess. Which I guess is what they're kind of saying, like rules don't matter anymore. But in that case, like I really don't know what they were trying to aim for in that part, because it was just like, well, yeah, anybody can die, but in like these slasher movies, there's usually rules to them. They have to follow like a checklist, if you will. But I don't know. It was rather interesting and a little bit of an eye roller when they're like, "Oh, anybody in the circle can die here," and I'm like, "All right, I don't know."
Yeah, it's like you guys really think you're clever. It's like
Yeah, exactly.
that clever, you know?
Yeah, I'll say like I think there's still targets for Scream to hit, you know, because like going into Scream 5, I was like, what else is there left to say? With that one out of the way, like I do think there's potential for stuff to talk about. Like every horror movie now is about trauma and overcoming trauma, you know. Which
Mhm.
is why I like Smile, because it's like
Oh, Smile is good.
because it's like, okay, you could have your trauma, but it's like this is a fucking demon. I don't think a demon cares about your trauma. um and so that ending really caught me off guard in a good way. I understand that was a little mean for some people, but I was like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming. Um but okay, so every horror movie is about trauma. That could
Yep.
they could satirize that. The obvious thing to me was like shared universes. So you would
Yeah.
have like multiple type of ghost faces. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like maybe people are like, oh, I'm trying to like brand the ghost face. I'm trying to
Yeah.
rebrand ghost face, something like that.
Oh
Like
yeah. It was also like franchises. That was another thing because it's like multiple people were like trying to do their own ghost face in this movie, and then the actual ghost face kills these other ghost face. But then too, like the ghost face that they have, he uses like shotguns and like guns for a little bit. It's like it's not your dad's ghost face. But then they never really touch on that again.
I guess that's what it's trying to satirize is just the whole idea of franchises.
Mhm.
But yeah, they don't really dive that deep into it.
Not really, no.
hmm. All right. Well, unless you guys have anything else. Oh, you know what? I got one more. What do we think about Ghostface Billy Loomis make an appearance again?
Oh, Force Ghost, Billy
Force
Loomis
Ghost, yeah.
works like a fucking Force Ghost
Yeah, he
now.
pops up in this new one too, right?
Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
he does.
Why do
Yeah,
they keep fucking sorry, I'm just gonna say it. Why the fuck did they keep doing that?
because
Whoever
she's
told them
like,
that was a good idea
I
should be
don't know,
fired.
it worked in Star
No, it
Wars.
didn't. Oh, okay, sorry. I'm like reflexively like attacking five now.
Yeah. It's just like I don't know because it's like Sam, the character, she has like a mental like she has like a sort of like a mental illness. But it's like she has like urges to maybe kill. Spoiler, she dons the ghost face costume to kill the ghost face in this, and it's just I guess she kind of fights urges of seeing like taking her father's place. I don't know. It's very convoluted. It's very
It's
convoluted. It's just it's kind of bad.
as much as I really like five, even for that, I was like, this is Star Wars. Come
Yeah, I
on.
mean that's the thing about that fifth one. It's like even people that like love it and like it's the best sequel. No one likes the Billy Loomis ghost.
No, they
Like
keep doing it.
he was a horrible monster. Why does
Wait,
like
no one except the actor that plays it that's getting paid.
Skeet Ulrich?
Like,
Yeah, and he's fucking fantastic. He's a great actor.
yeah,
He's
But
great in it. But
yeah,
it is a little off-putting. He is in this one a reduced amount of time.
yeah.
He's
He's
not
in
in it
like
as much as he was in the fifth one,
okay.
which I think everybody is kind of thankful for.
mhm.
But I don't know. I think he shows up like a number, like maybe two times,
Yeah, I like to. You know,
like two times.
those are like use the force, Sam. I mean, use the knives.
Here, I didn't mind him as much. Here, I didn't
Yeah.
mind him as much. Although, if you walk into this movie, like, just humor me. If you walk into this movie, have not seen the previous movie, and you just see just Skeet Ulrich just telling this young teenager to like give into urges,
Kill.
you're like, what the hell is happening
Yeah,
here?
like kill them
but
all, Sam.
but
Murder them.
but speaking on Skeet Ulrich, they a little Easter eggish, if you will, on fan theories is that they mention Stu Macher, and if like, oh, this is the TV that killed him, and they're like, oh, but if he really is dead, so they're really feeding into that fan theory that Stu Macher is not alive, and he's like training the next generation of ghost faces.
I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it right now. They're gonna bring back Stu in the last one, in the next movie.
You
Somewhere.
know what? I am down. I want them to bring.
Okay.
I've been
Okay.
seeing. I was hoping that Matthew Lillard was going to be in this one because he's been saying he was wanted to come back to these movies,
Yeah.
and hands down, he was the best part in Scream.
Yeah.
If he comes back in the next one, that's a 5 out of 5 for me. I don't care. That's a 5 out of 5.
Well,
No,
yeah.
that's how they're gonna get you guys. Like I know, I think third movie was supposed to have like a potential like Stu's in prison and he's kind of like orchestrating stuff from behind the scenes.
That's
Um,
right.
an idea that Kevin Williamson TV took to TV for The Following, for
Oh
his
yeah.
FBI serial killing hunter show, whatever.
I've never seen that Scream show.
They
It's
they
no,
didn't
it's, no,
go
no, no, it's not Scream. It's a movie called
Oh,
or it's a show called The
yeah.
Following. Yeah.
Oh,
they
okay. Gotcha.
they didn't go forward with that in the third movie because of Columbine, right?
I think that was part of it. Again, the third one had a lot of problems, but yeah, there's
Yeah.
also like a reduced amount of horrific violence in the third
Yeah.
movie because they're like, should probably like I think yeah, that's right. I think that is the thing because it was going to also be back at the high school because
Mm.
they were going to be teachers or something like that, which like an angle that maybe wouldn't have worked already. So it's like, okay, it's gonna veer away from violence towards young adults.
Yeah.
Instead, we're gonna kill Putty from Seinfeld.
Oh.
R.I.P.
Oh.
King.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So would you guys recommend Scream 6?
Sure.
I would. I
Yeah.
would. It was still a fun time despite
Yeah.
all its flaws. But I think maybe later this week I will go see it again.
Yeah. I'll see it again, but yeah, I was giving it another chance because at least it's engaging. I feel like I'm not wasting my time. It's just just that third act just didn't do it for me. So yeah, it's at least fun like the first two parts of the story.
What
Okay.
really works is its use of tension and suspense, which definitely keeps you on edge.
Yeah.
It definitely works more in character development in this movie,
Mhm.
and so because of that, you care more about the characters, and so that's what really works in this movie is that you care about the characters. So I think just for that alone, it's worth watching.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm actually interested in checking it out because the responses are all over the map, and a lot of people seem to be saying like they prefer it to the fifth one, even if they also don't like this one. So I'm like, there's clearly something worth checking out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I
Get
was
it
not interested in watching it in theaters. I might actually check it out in theaters now.
get it on Redbox, you could do that.
We'll see. We'll see. It'll only be the second Scream film I've seen in the theater if I do see it.
Oh, okay,
So,
there you go. Yeah.
Luis, thank you for joining us. Where do you got to plug? What internet places can people find you at, or do you want people to check you out at?
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It's been
Yeah,
a
of course.
pleasure and joy. You guys could find me on Instagram and on YouTube. My handle is Fade Out Productions, and also on Instagram as well. And if you guys just want to follow me on Instagram, it's just Luisro Alcazar at Luisro Alcazar.
Yeah, I got to follow along your post production process because I remember one conversation we had. You were talking about at least one of the short film ideas, and I was like, that was pretty fucking good.
Mhm.
I'd see that. So
Yeah.
best of luck to you on that. I cannot wait to see the finished production. Thanks for joining us. Also,
Yeah,
this was
thanks.
a blast. I hope Austin's treating you very well.
Mhm.
Even if Gene's over there with you right now. So.
And yeah,
No, he's
no,
been a blast to have.
thanks. Yeah, thanks for being on the show. Yeah, I think we've mentioned having you on before, but yeah, now you've finally been on. So
Yeah, got to do this more often.
Yeah, definitely. But until then, Gene, where can people find you?
you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Gene9892.
Oh, and you can find links down to everything else below. Check out the Waffle Press on Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and Patreon, where you can get early access to other stuff. There'll be some retrospectives out. Failed award contenders. We're hot in the middle of season 2 of that, so keep an eye out for whatever the fuck we're talking about. There's a lot, and there's going to be a lot on the Patreon when you go check it after this episode. So check that out. It'll probably be another episode released the same day as this, so you'll get two Waffle Press episodes to listen to with a bunch of different thoughts on different things. So thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for watching. like and subscribe. If you didn't like this episode, like and subscribe anyways, because you might find something to do like. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We have been professionally unprofessional. Bye-bye.
Bye.